Alright, so now that we've discussed the basics of HTML, I want to actually jump in and get our hands dirty a little bit and do some HTML programming. You'll see here I've created a small project, and it's just a single web page with all the elements that we've talked about, a heading, paragraph, image tags, styling, title, page layout. So we're going to jump into this now, and you should have these files. You should have the project files, and this is actually located in chapter 1, section 1, and this here, Fave Pick Done, is the finished product. And right now we're just going to recreate this. Now, one of the things that we need to discuss is the editor that you're going to use, which is extremely important. You should use something that you're comfortable with. But for HTML and CSS, we don't need any complicated environments. We could actually use just Notepad, standard Notepad. What I would recommend is Notepad++. It just offers a little more developer-friendly tools to use. So you can download that. Just Google Notepad++. I'm not sure the actual URL, but it's free and it's really easy to use, so that's what I'm going to use for this particular series. Alright, so what I want to do now is create a new file. Let me close this out. I want to create a new file to work with. Now you'll see we have the Fave Pick Done HTML file. I'm going to create a new file and I'm going to call it index.html. Let me just do that real quick. Oops. Save as, and you should save the project before you even start. So I'm going to save it to the same folder, chapter 1, section 1, and we're going to name it index.html. So the reason for this, naming it index.html, is so that you don't have to actually type the file name in the browser. So if we had mysite.com/favepick, if we don't want to specify favepickdone.html, then if we name it index.html, the page will load. It automatically loads index.html. So that's why I'm naming this. I mean, it's just, if it's going to be the actual page that you want to load automatically, then you want to name it index.html. So now I want to start the actual code. So we have index.html. Now what we want to do now is just open the index.html in the browser. So I'm going to open it with Chrome, and you can use IE or Firefox or whichever your preference. And the first thing that I want to do, that we have to do in any HTML document, is define the doc type. So we just want to define the doc type, and we want HTML. If we were using XHTML or something else, this would be different, and XHTML doc types are a lot longer as well. So that's the first thing always. And the second thing will be the HTML opening tag. Now you can type as you go the tags, or you can do what I like to do and just close every tag you make, every opening tag, close it right away. That way you don't have any errors, any mistakes in the format. And the next thing we want to do is the head. So we want to open the head tag and close it. And in the head tag, we can do a lot of different things. You can have meta tags, keywords, all kinds of scripts or links to CSS or JavaScript files. But in this project, all we're going to have in the head is the title. So open it, close it. And sometimes I'll leave it on the same line if it's going to be a short amount of content in the tag. So for the title, we're just going to have favorite pick. Now I'm going to save this and go back to the browser, and this is the index.html page, you can see, and reload, and you'll see there's nothing in the inner area here. That's because our content that we have right here is in the head, and in the head is the title, and the title shows up here in the browser bar. I mean in the browser tab. The title is very important for SEO reasons. If you want to, rank well in the search engines, the title is what people will see when you come up in the results. So, I mean, that's a whole different topic altogether, but just something to know. So, what I want to do now is I want to view the source. This is the browser page, the presentation page. I want to view the source through the browser, which could be different depending on which browser you're using. I'm using Chrome. In Chrome you go to Tools and then View Source, and you'll see it's the same thing, and it shows the raw HTML. So it's really good if you want to troubleshoot and if you missed some closing tags or anything like that. So we're just going to leave that open, and then we're going to continue to add HTML to our document. So after the head, we need to have a body. So opening body tag, closing body tag. Now the body is this, is the inner browser. And what we're going to do now is we're going to add a heading tag, an H1 tag. Now I think I mentioned this, but heading tags go H1 through H6, and H1 being the largest, H6 being the smallest. So we're going to have a heading, and we're going to call it favorite pick, just like the title. Close it. Save. I'm pressing Control S to save, just so you know. Now to reload, and there's our H1 tag. And the size of this is determined by the browser because we have no style attached to it, no custom style. So in most of the browsers, it's about the same size, H1 through H6. So next we're going to add the paragraph, and if it's a paragraph or something that has a lot of content, I usually have it on its own line. So I put the paragraph here, and you can see how I'm indenting. Inner tags have an indent. So for the paragraph, let's see, and you can just write anything here. It's not, the content's not really important, it's just the format that we're looking at. It's bright and strong. Alright, so that's in the paragraph tags. I'm going to save, reload, and there's our paragraph. Alright, so the next thing we want to do is add the image. And the image is a singleton tag, as I explained earlier. So it doesn't have a closing tag. We're just going to have the IMG, and the main attribute is source, which points to the image file, wherever that may be. For us, it's actually in the same directory as the HTML file, so we don't have to use any folders or anything like that. So we're just going to put the name of the pic, which is favepik.jpg. Now if you had a folder here called images, and you had the image in the folder, then you would add the images folder to the file name, to the source. And the next thing we want to add to the image tag is the alt, and I'm just gonna put my favorite pick, and then we close it. We don't close, I mean we close the head tag, the beginning tag. There is no ending tag like this. That's wrong. And if this was XHTML, which it's not, we would add the slash like that. So we'll save that, Control S, save, reload, and then we have the image. So as far as markup, as content, we're pretty much done. What we want to do now is separate the parts we want to style and add the selectors, the CSS, to whatever we want to add it to. The first thing I'm going to do is take basically everything and wrap it in a div. So I'm going to put a div right here, an opening div tag, and then a closing one after the image, because this will give us a div tag with everything you see inside of it. And I'm going to do some indenting just to make it more presentable. So we have all that wrapped in a div. I'm going to save it, and you won't see any changes yet because there's no style attached to it. It's just a tag. Alright, so the next thing I want to do is add style to the body. So we're going to add a style attribute. And, excuse me, I need to drink some water. So for the style, we're going to add a margin. We're going to cut the margin out because automatically it adds margin to the body. You can see here it's not flush up against the browser. So we're just going to put margin 0, save, I'll reload, and now you'll see it's flush up against the edges. The next style property I want to do is the background color of the entire body. So we're going to do the background color selector, and we're going to make it gray. Save, reload, and now we have the entire body is gray. And now I want to make this text, I want to change the color of the text to make it white. So we're just going to use color. Now I could just do white, that works. I'll save and reload. But if you want to, usually if you want a more specific color, you would use the hexadecimal value for it as opposed to just writing the color, because I mean there's only so many colors available as text. So if you want, right here I'm going to use the hexadecimal value for white, which is 6 Fs, and I'll save it, reload, and it's white. Now I could change this to the black hexadecimal value, which is 6 zeros, save, and it's black. And then there's others like 6 Cs is light gray, but we're going to keep it white. Okay, so now what we want to do is style the we want to add some style to the div, which is the entire thing, the entire page. And the only style we're going to give to that is going to be a width of 750 pixels. And the reason I chose 750 pixels is because that's how big the image is. So I want the whole thing to end where the edge of the image is. Now I'll save that and reload, but we won't see any changes because we didn't add anything except the width. And now what we want to do is add to the heading. We want to add style to the H1 tag, and we want to zero out the margin just like we did to the body. I'll reload, and you'll see now there's no top space. And I do want to add a padding. Actually, I'll do the background color first. So the background color of the heading is going to be a hexadecimal value for a purplish color, which will be 53324D. Semicolon. You always need a semicolon in the middle separating the selectors. Save, reload, and then you'll see we have the background for the H1 tag. Excuse me. Now what we want to do is add padding to this, because you'll see the H1 tag doesn't have much space. It has almost no space between the edge of the purple and the heading text. So I'm going to add a padding of 5 pixels. Save, reload. Now you'll see it looks much better. There's more space and it looks much more clean. Now the difference between padding and margin, I can show you right now, is that padding is from the edge of the text here, the edge of the text to the top of the div. That's the padding. Margin would be from the edge of the div out. So let me just show you if I added a margin of 30 pixels, save, a margin of 30 pixels to the heading, you'll see it's from the outer edge out. Padding, I'll just add 35 just to show you. Padding is the inner spacing. So that's the difference between margin and padding. Let's set those back. Okay, so the next thing will be the paragraph. And you can see there's a lot of space between the paragraph. I want to margin that out. I want to zero out that margin as well. Save, reload. Oh, I forgot the style attribute. Haven't done that in a long time. Reload, and now you see the margin's gone. I do want to add a background color of black. I'll use the hexadecimal value. Reload. What's going on here? Oh. Quote has to be on the end. Save, reload. Now we have a black background. Now I do want to add a little bit of padding to that too. So I'll do padding 5 pixels. And save, reload, and now we have the padding. So it's really taken shape, and we did it in a very small amount of code. And next we'll be talking about tables and lists.